Thank God. Color Guard has prepped us well for this, hasn't it?
No!
Alrighty. Focus. Like the method actors we are. Welcome back, awesome people, to Cocktails and Consoles. It's Melissa, and I'm so excited. My sister is here.
Flew from Arizona.
Yep, my sister Lisa. And if you're wondering why, yes, my mother figured it'd be easier to remember our names if one of us was half the name of the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing today, Melissa?
Well, since my sister is here, we are going to play some games and drink some drinks, and neither of which is going to have a matching theme, but fuck it, my sister's here, so.
And your sister loves whiskey, so.
Yes, her and I bond over our shared love of whiskey, something fierce. So what we're going to be making is 2 drinks that are, I think, genetically similar. They're sister drinks! Except one is slightly more intoxicated. So today we're going to be making Lisa's favorite drink, which is the 3 Wisemen, and then we're going to be making my favorite drink, which is the 4 Horsemen, because it just sounds so badass. And for those of you guys who've had this drink before and you're wondering, where's the tequila? There's no tequila! No! One of these things is not like the other and not allowed in my glass, okay?
So I guess that's, yeah, we're definitely different on that part, because I'm like, you know, if you want to put tequila in there, that is your prerogative.
She is far more accepting of tequila than I am.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna, it's your life, you live what you want. Meanwhile, I'm gonna have my whiskeys right here, but if you want to put tequila, do a 3 Wisemen in Mexico, go for it. It's your prerogative. Yay, America.
America!
F yeah.
Where you are allowed to have tequila in your whiskey drinks.
As long as Melissa's not mixing it, apparently.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yes. So as you guys may notice, you guys who watch the show, normally I don't have the bottles out here because 1, not sponsored, and 2, I just don't tend to like show off a particular alcohol. But when you're dealing with a drink like the 3 Wisemen, I said that right. When you're dealing with a drink like the 3 Wisemen or the 4 Horsemen, it is all about the ingredients. What's normally in a 3 Wisemen?
So a 3 Wisemen, people think Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and Johnny Walker. I think Black Label is the one they tend to go with, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But really what it comes down to, it doesn't have to be those 3 things. It should be bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, and Scotch of some sort.
Ah, yes.
Is what the basis is, and there's all the different variations. Like with 4 Horsemen is when you add in an Irish whiskey, amongst other ones like 3 Wisemen in Mexico, or 3 Wisemen hunting turkey in Mexico, which is when you add in wild turkey. There's a huge list. I think like there's a Christmas Wiseman that has Jaeger in it. Not my cup of tea, but like I said, all the more power to you.
Yeah, all power to you. If you love Jaeger, and I know some of you do, we all love our own things, and
I love this, so that's what we're doing. You can do the regular 3, and that's fine. Especially like some people believe you shouldn't put more expensive liquors into drinks when you're mixing them, and it's like, okay, well, you're not really going to be able to taste all the individuality that you would from just like a plain Jack Daniels or whatnot, or not even the fact that it just doesn't really matter. But for me personally, I don't like to have 20 million bottles in my house just because I have nowhere to put them, and so I like to have something that I can actually drink at home by itself, as well as be able to mix in other things.
yes, that's actually a really good point. So why I tend to like vodka, I don't really like the taste of vodka. I know very few people who do. I know they're great Goose fans out there.
One of them.
But vodka is there to serve a purpose. It's, you know, to give a drink an alcohol content and to add a little bit of a kick. And so same thing for this. And this is why I love the 3 Wisemen and the 4 Horsemen, because it's taking, you know, pretty average, pretty run-of-the-mill alcohols, and by bringing them together like Voltron, you make super alcohol. And it's so good. And we're gonna make that. Can you tell I don't script any of the show?
Noted.
Would you like to kind of walk us through what we've got on the counter?
Yeah, I could give it a shot. I haven't had the, oh, I'm going to butcher this, the Glenmorangie.
I butcher it all the time. That's as close as I've come to
But
calling
you
it.
have before, so
Yes.
What's this one like?
So Glenmorangie is really nice. If you're just getting started in Scotch, or if you're just getting started in whiskey, I highly recommend this one, especially the 10-year, because the 10-year you get a lot of the same flavors like you would for an 18-year, and it's only $30.
Yes, so I'm going to butcher it again. Glenmorangie is the Scotch that you want to put in, and we'll use it for both of the ones that we have. Next, we have George Dickel, which is a Tennessee whiskey. Now, I don't think you've had this before, right?
I have not.
I definitely have not. We were researching, trying to find something a little bit different than Jack Daniels. Like, disclaimer, I love Jack Daniels, and I'm not getting paid to say that. That was the first whiskey I ever fell in love, like ever tried and liked. But with this is the only other Tennessee whiskey we were able to find. So if you guys know about any, definitely like in the comments leave something, because I love to try new things. So this is a 12-year, and this fills our Tennessee whiskey
requirement.
Yes.
Check that box.
Next we have is the Hudson Baby Bourbon whiskey that this one I tried today for the first time. This is your first time too, right? And this, I like it because it's got a lot of like spice to it, but it's not too overwhelming, but it's got a lot of depth and flavor.
Very smooth.
And then we have finally, to fulfill the 4 Horsemen, we have Tullamore Dew. I've had varieties of this. I have one that comes in a crock that's really good. This one, I like it because Irish whiskeys, especially if you're not really happy with like the burningness that comes with a lot of whiskeys, I find Irish whiskey tends to be a lot more mellow without giving up the flavor of it, and Tullamore Dew especially.
Cool. All right, so do you want to take us through then the creation of the 3 Wisemen? Now, which of these 4 goes into the 3?
So the ones that we need for all 3 is we need the Scotch, we need the Tennessee, and we need the Bourbon.
Did I line these up right and not even knowing it?
Yes, you happen to,
Awesome.
actually. Good job.
I totally did not plan that.
That's okay, we'll take a couple shots of these and then we'll see if you can do it again afterward. So, yeah, would you like to do the honors of pouring? Because I can't trust myself not to make a mess.
You think I can?
So you basically want equal parts, no matter how much you do it. You can serve it on the rocks if you really want to. I personally don't like to water down my whiskeys, so I don't do any. What you can also do as well, if you want to cut the burning a little bit, is add a splash of lemon too.
Yes. And for some of you guys who are hardcore into whiskeys and scotch, a little bit of spring water, I've heard, definitely helps. I haven't felt the difference, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I do drink with a lot of people who like to drink scotch, and I'm not a huge fan, though I do have an appreciation for it, but they tend to add water to not necessarily cut it. It does something to it. Unfortunately, I don't know the science behind it, but it does open it up a little bit.
It a little
bit. A little bit, yeah.
Which is good. Now, I did just a quick two count pour because this is straight alcohol. So you don't want to keep it, you want to keep it on the smaller side. Now, when it comes to glasses, I don't have many of them yet, but there is a glass up there that's either named after or specifically for Canadian whiskey, which has a nice little narrow funnel at the top, which I really appreciate because that takes all the scent and the smell and just aims it right at your nose, which I tend to like.
Talking about the Glencairns?
Yes, those are the ones. Those I do love. Okay, but for these, it's your general rocks glass, and mostly because similar with red wine, you want to warm up the whiskey a little bit because it makes it a bit more aerated and you get more of the scent. I'm not sure if you get more of the flavor. I do know if you cool it down too much, you are going to lose a little bit of the flavor. That's why this is one of the few alcohols that I'll drink at room temperature.
I drink like all of them at room temperature, so maybe I'm not the best judge on this.
Well,
yeah, and mostly people tend to think of the 3 Wisemen as a drink that you shoot, which yes, you can. If you're gonna shoot it, I would not recommend spending money on this. Like, just get the bare basics.
that's like
you're not gonna taste it.
smoking a cigar. Why?
I mean, if you like whiskey and everyone's doing shots and you don't want to do tequila or vodka, you're living life on the fun side, I guess. But
That's true.
Yeah.
To each their own.
yeah, it's whiskey, it's alcohol. Honestly, do what makes you happy. Just don't do it and then get in a car or something that makes other people unhappy.
Yes.
We're going to drink in game, which will make everyone happy until my character inevitably dies, and
It will be a race to see who of us dies first, because we're going to be playing Resident Evil on the Wii. It's one of the God, what do they call those?
rail shooters.
Yeah, so it's a rail shooter game, which thankfully we don't have to maneuver, but we do have to shoot. And you've seen me in GoldenEye. Shooting games, not the best at. So we're going to see which of us is worse.
And we're going to make it a little interesting as well. So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of variations when it comes to the 3 Wisemen.
Oh, God.
One of which is called, I think it's 3 Dudes in a Booth. Now, And I checked Urban Dictionary. I didn't see any euphemisms about it, so I think we're okay and clean saying that, but it still sounds weird to me.
It really does.
I couldn't even find a history of the name, so I have no idea where it came from. It's effectively a 3 Wisemen, and then you take a dollop of whipped cream on top, and then you drink it through a straw to make it classy. So whichever one of us dies first is going to be subjected to drinking that. So we'll see what happens. There's extra motivation not to screw up.
I love whipped cream. I love scotch. I have a feeling that the merging of the two is going to be an unholy pairing, but we're going to give it a shot. Pun not intended. Shall we?
We shall. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's a little. I might have done one a little bit more than the
Lightweight.
other. Oh!
This one definitely has a lot more spice in it.
Yeah, I think I might have had a heavy hand on one of these.
It's all good.
It's like a Frankenstein drink. You just keep adding more until it's exactly how you like it.